All right, let's jump right into today's explainer. We're unpacking a profoundly dark, almost graphic novel style fable of the soul's quest for ultimate meaning. We're tracking the existential archetype of the wanderer, a figure charting a course through radical isolation, philosophical rebellion, and ultimately cosmic redemption. And look, this isn't just some abstract pie in the sky concept. It is a structural map of human striving deeply rooted in Nietzschean philosophy, touching on the raw essence of the will to power and self overcoming.
To really grasp this, we have to step directly into the greedy mindset of Das Wanderer. Just imagine traversing his thoughts right now. He's saying, I stand on the frozen spines of these mountains, looking down at the warm, complacent herd below. I am an icy exile. I've completely shattered the comforting sanctuaries of tradition, I've broken the tablets of inherited morality, and now I am a homeless phantom in a vacuum of my own making. You can feel that, right? There's this chilling, existential dread in that kind of radical isolation, but at the exact same time, there's a fierce, totally untamed freedom, and that perfectly sets up the first major phase of our narrative arc. Chapter 1. The Wanderer's Perpetual Striving. So our hero's curse is fundamentally defined by perpetual motion, what the Germans call Streben. Driven by this absolutely unrelenting will to power, the wanderer unmasks traditional deities and destroys external sanctuaries, which creates a void that literally forces them to keep moving. They can never just settle down because no earthly location or intellectual achievement is ever going to be enough. It's kind of like Faust's infamous pact. The very second Faust finds a moment so perfectly beautiful that he says, "Stay, thou art so fair," boom, he loses his soul. For the wanderer, settling down is quite literally spiritual death. This relentless motion needs fuel. Chapter 2. Negation and the Domestic Beast. Now, here's where it gets really interesting. In this journey, the antagonist isn't your traditional cosmic enemy with a pitchfork and horns. Instead, we run into the architect of negation, a figure very much like Mephistopheles. This spirit acts as a vital, functional gear in the grand text of life. It provides the essential friction we need to stop our sovereign will from falling into lazy, comfortable slumbers. Paradoxically, this force is eternally willing evil, yet eternally working good, simply by making absolutely sure we don't stagnate. But how does this negation actually sneak into our lives? Well, it rarely shows up with a dramatic clap of thunder. It usually starts out as the domestic beast. In Goethe's work, it appears as this deceptive, completely non-threatening black poodle. Bring that into the modern day. Think of your daily workplace routine. That black poodle is the endless loop of emails, the hypnotic glow of your spreadsheets, the totally predictable schedule. It feels so safe. But then suddenly, that familiar comfort reveals its true nature as a catalyst for existential decay, expanding into this towering shadow of unmeasured reality that literally threatens to swallow your potential. And this really exposes the mechanics of productive evil. That perfectly comfortable workplace routine starts to mock you. The friction of reality disrupts your comfort, driving you completely out of passive thought. You are practically shoved out of your cubicle of complacency and thrown straight into the dangerous, vital arena of experiential growth. That disruption is exactly what stops you from falling asleep at the wheel of life. Chapter 3. Reading the Shifting Text. Once we're thrust into that dangerous arena, we've got to learn how to navigate it. And I really want to use a Socratic approach here. So let me ask you directly, must our mortal limits actually crush us? Are we just tricking ourselves into believing our guilt and errors are somehow required? Are we simply using poetic metaphors to excuse our flaws? Or what if this resistance is exactly the sculpting medium we need to carve out actual meaning? We so often view our flaws as definitive, permanent failures, but what if they are the precise aesthetic necessity required for our journey? Aesthetic necessity argues that your personal history is not some heavy ledger of sins meant to weigh you down. Actually, past errors are repurposed as metaphors. Your guilt is transformed into artistic resistance. Your sheer human limitations provide the necessary friction, the literal sculpting medium against which your sovereign will can chisel out its own monumental meaning. This is a pure exercise in amor fati, right? Learning to not just bear what is necessary, but to genuinely love it as the very raw material of your triumph. This whole concept is the essence of Dionysian philology. The wanderer is not a passive victim of fate. They are a tragic philologist. You are actively decoding reality. The universe isn't some rigid set of divine commands that you have to blindly obey. No, it's a living, shifting text to be read, interpreted, and rewritten by you. When you view reality through this lens, it entirely strips worldly trials of their crushing, literal weight. You become the author, interpreting the text of your own struggles. Chapter 4. The Architecture of the Two Horizons. Now, picture a dramatic panel shift in our existential graphic novel, a profound parable transition. We start in the claustrophobia of the hermitage. This is the friction, the daily grind, the volatile deeds where you are forced to confront your own rational blindness, usually sparked by that domestic beast we just talked about. But then the panel shifts. The wanderer ascends to the high step. Here we experience boundless expansion. That aggressive conquering drive is finally sublimated, pointing us toward a cosmic resolution. It's this massive psychological parable of moving from feeling utterly trapped in the mundane to finally breathing the pure air of the eternal.
And right at the apex of that transition, we find this incredibly powerful maxim: all that is transitory is only a symbol. Think about that. Whether you are facing the suffocating walls of the hermitage, a deep valley of despair, or just a massively frustrating obstacle in your career, those earthly environments do not own you. You don't possess the landscape, and it definitely doesn't possess you. You are merely passing through. They are temporary, symbolic markers that are absolutely necessary for your grander spiritual evolution.
Chapter 5. Cosmic Resolution and Ascension. Eventually, all of this wandering has to mean something, right? The ultimate tragedy of the pure wanderer is homelessness. But the resolution to that isn't found by turning back and finding a physical house with a white picket fence. The destination is wholly transcendent. It's the eternal feminine. You can define this as the cosmic womb of eternal recurrence. It acts as a profound creative gravity that finally draws the restless soul upward to peace. It's the magnetic force that gives the wanderer an ultimate destination, finally allowing them to stop walking.
So a beautiful cosmic synthesis finally emerges. That aggressive, restless, perpetually wandering energy of Faustian striving, that masculine drive to conquer and constantly be on the move, is finally met and completely balanced by the feminine resolution. This is the receptive, unifying principle of divine love. It is the ultimate cosmic homecoming where the outsider is finally, truly brought inside.
But take special note here. This journey absolutely does not conclude in a rigid, frozen halt. It doesn't just end with a full stop. It reaches perfection as a triumphant, fluid dance with the universe. The soul completely ceases to be that homeless phantom shivering up on the icy mountain spines. Instead, it becomes a self-contained work of art, where all the agony, the relentless striving, and the friction of existence are beautifully distilled into a grand cosmic symphony.
The Chorus Mysticus sings this final truth, providing the ultimate resolution to the wanderer's Faustian striving. It honors the whole journey by proving that the earthly path, which, let's be honest, is inherently insufficient on its own, is finally made whole and complete in the eternal realm. Every single mistake, every disrupted comfort, every agonizing moment of isolation was purposefully building toward this cosmic completion.
So, as we wrap up this explainer, I really want to leave you with a provocative thought. If all that is transitory is only a symbol, if the mundane frustrations and the comfortable little cages of your everyday grind are just raw materials, how are you going to rewrite the shifting text of your own earthly struggles today? The universe is quite literally waiting for your interpretation. So keep wandering, keep interpreting, and let that friction sculpt you.